Before I begin, I want to ask you to hit that subscribe button for more real, emotionally gripping stories like mine. And if this story hits close to home, share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. It all started with a text from my mother that I'll never forget. "Come to the house. We need to talk about your brother." It was short, abrupt, and unsettling. Normally, my mother's texts were warm, joking, filled with little emojis and reminders about dinner or appointments. This one felt like a warning. I felt my chest tighten as I walked into the familiar house. Liam, my 2-year-old nephew, clinging to my hand. My brother Michael was sprawled on the living room couch, scrolling through his phone, oblivious. My mother didn't even glance at me as she motioned me to sit. "You know why you're here," she said flatly. I shook my head. "No, Mom. I really don't." She let out a sigh that carried decades of judgment. "For 23 years you've been doing everything for him. Cleaning his room, cooking his meals, making sure he has everything he needs. And you've never thought about yourself. Never once." My hands froze in my lap. For a moment I felt like the walls were closing in. All those nights I'd washed his clothes, scrubbed his floors, ironed his shirts, prepared his favorite meals. It had never occurred to me that this wasn't normal? That my parents were treating him like royalty while I was invisible? I just wanted to help. I whispered, my voice barely audible. Her eyes softened just a fraction. "You helped, yes. But it wasn't love. It was duty. And he's taken it for granted." I left the house that day feeling hollow, confused, angry, betrayed. Every memory of my childhood, of family holidays, birthdays, school achievements felt tainted. How had I missed it? How had I believed that what I was doing was normal? Over the next few weeks, I began noticing subtle signs that had been there all along. Michael's texts were always self-centered, oblivious to the effort I put into keeping his life running smoothly. I realized the countless times he had avoided helping me, even in the smallest ways, while I had practically been his shadow. I questioned myself at first. Maybe I was exaggerating. Maybe my resentment had made me see patterns where there weren't any. But then I found the messages between my parents and him, texts praising his responsibility, while mine went unnoticed. "You're such a good son for handling everything," one message read. Another said, "Michael, you're so lucky to have your brother help you out." My blood ran cold. My parents weren't seeing me. They were seeing him. The more I reflected, the more I realized just how much I had sacrificed. Nights spent doing his homework with him while my own assignments went undone. Meals I skipped to make sure his plate was full. My own dreams, postponed because my time and energy were always consumed by him. It wasn't just physical labor, it was emotional. Every smile I faked when my parents praised him, every nod I gave as he took credit, every laugh I forced to hide my hurt. It all built a wall inside me brick by brick. And yet I couldn't hate him. Michael didn't ask to be born. He didn't ask for my parents' favoritism, and he certainly didn't ask me to be invisible. I hated the situation but not him. That realization made the hurt even sharper. It wasn't just betrayal by my parents. It was betrayal by a system I had been trapped in my whole life. Finally, I confronted my parents. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just looked at them, at the people I had trusted most, and said, "Do you realize what you've done? For 23 years you've let him live like a prince while I've been treated like a servant. You never even noticed me." Mom's eyes filled with tears. We didn't mean for it to be like that. We loved him differently." "Loved him differently?" I echoed, my voice breaking. "How do you even justify that?" My father looked away, guilt etched on his face. "We thought you understood that this was your role. That you liked helping." I felt my chest tighten. I wasn't helping. I was serving. And I spent 23 years thinking I was being a good son. But I wasn't seen. Not once. And the worst part is, you never even realized it. There was a long silence. Then quietly my mother whispered, "We're sorry. We didn't mean for it to hurt you like this." But sorry felt hollow. The weight of 23 years of invisible labor, stolen time, and unnoticed effort couldn't be erased with words. I realized that their apology was for them, not for me. I walked away that day feeling lighter in a strange way. For the first time in decades, I acknowledged my own needs, my own worth. I wasn't responsible for Michael's happiness. I wasn't responsible for my parents' sense of pride. I had been carrying their favoritism and injustice for too long, and it was time to put it down. In the weeks that followed, I started reclaiming my life. Small steps at first. Cooking for myself, saying no when asked to cater to Michael's every whim, prioritizing my own work and relationships. Every act felt revolutionary, like I was rediscovering myself for the first time. I realized that self-respect isn't about punishing others. It's about honoring your own needs. I still loved my family, but I no longer allowed their favoritism to define my value. I learned that love isn't always visible, but self-worth is. And sometimes the most painful betrayals teach the deepest lessons. I learned to stand for myself, to set boundaries, and to embrace the quiet power of being seen. Not for what I do for others, but for who I am. So to everyone listening, I ask again. Hit subscribe for more stories like mine, and please share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever felt invisible in your own family? Have you had to reclaim your worth? I want to hear your stories, because at the end of the day, what matters isn't how long someone has overlooked you. It's how long you allow yourself to be overlooked. I spent 23 years serving others. Now I finally serve myself. And that, I realized, is the first step to freedom.